So Jolt is an acronym. It stands for the 4 key behaviors that we found in the study that high performers are doing differently than their peers. It's also meant to have double meaning, of course, right? We're trying to jolt the buyer out of their indecision and sort of past their indecision. So the J in the jolt is judging the level of indecision. I kind of covered that already. So how do I spot it? Because often, of course, buyers either aren't aware or aren't willing to admit that they're dealing with this indecision.
Yeah.
So how do we spot it and raise it? How do we understand it even when the buyer doesn't come out and just tell us, hey, I stink at making changes? So the O in Jolt is offer a firm recommendation. And this is a skill that's particularly powerful in those situations when the buyer's stuck because they can't decide which path to head down, right? Do I go path A, path B? Do I start here? Do I start there?
Mm.
That's where a recommendation becomes a really powerful skill to indicate to that buyer that you're willing to shift some of that perceived blame from them to you. So starting to get in the L with the limiting the expiration. That's addressing that core fear the buyer has that they don't have enough information, right? So the limiting the expiration is essentially the seller earning back trust and helping the buyer understand that, I've got your best interest in mind. We have a chapter in the book we call Becoming a Buyer's Agent, which is kind of the mentality and the mindset of that Jolt seller is, right. I've got your best interest in mind. I'm here to find ways to make sure that you're going to have a great experience. And so this involves the seller. It requires them to earn back a little trust early on. And then finally, the T is taking risk off the table. So this is a skill that's particularly useful in places where the buyer is stuck because they feel like outcomes remain far
Yeah.
too uncertain. There's too much variance involved, too many variables, too many moving pieces involved in this decision. So in this place, the seller has to find ways to set very proper expectations, right, about what's achievable, what's believable, what's practical.